Delighted to welcome back Archie here in the studio, and I suppose it's climate change again. I mean, it's something that's gone off the agenda slightly, which is probably why you want to come see me ahead of this one.
Yes.
I mean, how many months since it also had to be put to one side now?
Well, I think it must have been since, the last one was February originally,
Was it
planning
really?
for April action, and then coronavirus hit, and the world went into, let's deal with the immediate crisis. And we're back now to say we need to act now. It is time again to restart.
So during that period, though, did anything good happen or bad happen that you've been concerned about?
Well, obviously the carbon emissions around the world dropped because people were using less cars, they couldn't fly, but that is only short term. It will go back and could possibly boom again because people want to travel more when, obviously, coronavirus has calmed down. We saw the Department for the Environment, Food and Agriculture, DEFA, I'll just shorten it. They obviously have now written a draft climate bill. There's quite a few aspects of there where we think there's a lot of lots of mays and lots of coulds, but not a lot of musts, and like they need to do something. So there's lots of leeway for the Council of Ministers. That's something we're very unhappy with. And obviously they have made green commitments, and we find it very controversial that, and frankly confusing, why they still want to extract gas from our seabed, and those plans are still going ahead, and that's one of our points from the strike.
I mentioned that to Mr. Boot in his interview because he was talking climate change to me, and at the same time he seems quite relaxed about oil extraction or gas extraction. I think isn't it? It's going to be, but you're looking at this from the outside, going, this doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, we don't need a transition fuel, for example. It's opening up new wells and creating damage to our seabed.
But there's money in there, right?
There's money in there, but it's extracted by a private company. The private company makes the majority of the profit. That's not going into said they want to create a sovereign wealth fund, as Norway have done in an example. But the money created and the government will get from it, I don't think is enough to kind of properly use it for climate change. And
you're still, I guess, banging on about the change date because it seems so far ahead.
It does.
Are you still trying to get it closer?
Of course. One of our first key point from the strike is a 2035 carbon neutrality date. I think Finland has done 2035. Denmark's aiming for there. We've even seen China.
It's a goal. It's an aspiration, isn't it? If it doesn't happen, maybe it doesn't. You try your best, but
well, the thing is, you don't want to overshoot.
Right.
You don't want to overshoot. And yes, it will be. We want to set in law to be 2035. Obviously, earlier is better, but 2035 means we have the best chance of not going over 1.5 degrees of temperature rise from climate change. And we see countries such as, I think China was in the news yesterday, they've made their target closer. They've done, it's 2060, it's not close enough, but if you look at the amount of emissions they've historically produced and the size of the country, it is a much bigger step forward than what they've had before. Talking the talk and walking the walk, right?
Yeah. It can be two different things, especially China.
Exactly,
You believe them? That'll come up in many years to come.
Yes.
But having this demonstration outside, does it really focus people to bang your drum and
it's there, and it makes the public aware that climate change doesn't go away. It doesn't just disappear. It can't be. We need to fix it, and we need to mitigate the effects of it. It's something that, yes, we might not see all of the effects which we're talking about in the next 2 days, or the next 2 years, or the next kind of 10 years. But after that, we'll see much more catastrophic effects. We're obviously seeing an increase in wildfires within the states, so Oregon, California, and obviously in Australia, and we're seeing more extreme weather events, and those are becoming more common. So it used to be in the news, I remember, when I was younger, you saw less of these kind of horrific events, and it's just become more mainstream now. It's just another one. It just happens, and it becomes normalised, which it shouldn't be, because it isn't normal.
Now, you are the voters of tomorrow, or you're 16, aren't you? So already. So I mean, do you think this is going to play a major part in the MHK's election campaigns?
We do believe.
Is that what you're trying to push?
We do believe it will show more of a part, because obviously with us pushing climate change, it's becoming more in the agenda. We see the Douglas South by-election. I was disappointed. I think it was
the Green Party didn't make it.
Just obviously the Green Party didn't make it, but it was Paul Quine, for example. I was very surprised nothing in the environment was mentioned in his manifesto. I read it and couldn't find anything in the environment. And I found that a bit disappointing.
Because most people are looking back on the ones from 2016. I think everyone touched on it, but there's one thing about mentioning it as a lead into a vote.
Mentioning it, but to the degree it's mentioned isn't enough. It doesn't really change that. Yes, we can increase the plastic bag tax from 5 to 10p. That doesn't solve climate change. It doesn't. Yes, it has an effect and it does help, but that's not the major player. Over here we have kind of residential is the largest emission sector, and that's like 30%. Those emissions need to be sorted. We need to have more home insulation, we need to have more energy efficiency schemes, and the regulations need to come into place.
And did we mention electric cars in there? Do you think that is a major part? I mean, some of which cases have switched over.
Obviously, electric cars, I think, Jeffrey Boot's obviously very keen on hydrogen electric. I think is both brilliant to move towards that from fossil fuels, and I think that's part of the bill which is better, I think, than other parts. So we see like housing with residential, it's still waiting 3 years before they even bring in the first restrictions.
Okay. Well, we'll be talking about this for a long time to come, but are these going to be monthly again, these demonstrations? It sounds like a big... I'm not sure it's demonstration or supportive of the cause.
It's both a strike and demonstration or a protest.
Do you call it a strike?
Yes, it's still striking because it's not just...
You're leaving school to do this, are you?
We are leaving school. I am missing lessons. I have to catch up. I don't want to miss lessons. I enjoy all of my lessons now because I'm in A-levels. I enjoy all my lessons. I don't want to miss it. But equally, one of the points is if they won't listen to the educated, what's the need for education? Because they won't listen to us either. So we need to hammer it home and say, we have had enough. We are going to go and strike and say, stand with our feet. This is what we're doing. Okay.
So, just to finish with Friday, what time?
Friday from 12:30 to 1:30 outside Tynwald.
It's not just for people of education age, it could be anyone?
It's anyone, absolutely anyone. It's there to show your support for, not support, but more demanding climate action and adequate climate action.